Today's Morphin Network video is brought to you by Karson's Korner. Karson's Korner is a black LGBTQ owned small business. They sell merchandise and apparel on pop culture franchises. These franchises include King of the Hill, Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, and of course, most importantly, Power Rangers. If you're interested in getting their amazing merch, be sure to check them out at www.carsonscorner.com.
Not bad for a crusty old grandma. Huh? Who said that? I'll go get him.
So, Mr. Cansino.
Where? He's famous.
How are you doing, sir?
How are you?
You doing fine? You doing good?
We're good. The Dodgers are on, the Oscars are on, but you guys are all watching me, which is actually the most important thing in life, right?
Definitely. And of course, technically you are a king, so.
Yeah.
Yes, guys.
I'm more of a King Sphincter.
So we're Sphincter. There you go. We have a new cult. It's called the Sphincter Clan.
Sphincter. I've been called worse.
Welcome to a very special interview of the first time ever, the voice of King Sphinx himself, Richard Cansino. And if you guys wonder who was King Sphinx, it's this person. He's a toy. And of course, if you want a full picture of what he looks like before, here you go. King Sphinx.
That was I was also Kegler.
Yep, and he was Kegler from Lost Galaxy.
Yeah, there I am, Kegler.
And in the journal from Turbo, I forgot the name. I know you were a general. General. I forgot the name, but he was a general in Turbo. And of course, one of my favorite monsters, because I like Lightspeed Rescue. You were the Cobra. And then, of course, the Eye Guy from Morphin. And of course, my friend's personal favorite, Jindrax. For a few episodes, guys.
Jindrax. Yeah, Jindrax.
Yeah, and he did a lot more, guys. He did a lot more voices, but of course, these were the 5 or 6 we known him more for. So
on Power Rangers, yeah.
In Power Rangers, and of course, he also is on many anime, TV shows, movies, and of course, video games, Dynasty Warriors.
And occasionally, some live things. I was on Star Trek too. I was on a Star Trek too.
Interesting, awesome.
You watch Star Trek?
I do, but unfortunately, I'm more of a. I don't want to say it. I'm more of a Star Wars guy. So.
How do we get rid of him, Brandon? What do we do?
I wouldn't know either. I'm a Battlestar Galactica fan, so.
Damn Trekkies. Anyway, so hello. Well, so again, guys, thank you for being part of this special interview. So let's get the interview started. So, Richard, how did you get started with acting?
How did I get started? I kind of fell into it against my better judgment. My family is show business family on my father's side. My great grandfather was the official dance teacher to the King of Spain, and he taught his family flamenco dancing. You know, that's Spanish. And there were 8 brothers and one sister, 8 kids altogether, 7 brothers and 1 sister, and they formed this dance troupe called the Dancing Cansinos. And they came to America, and they introduced flamenco dancing to the United States. They'd never heard of it in this country, and they were huge stars. The Dancing Cansinos in vaudeville. For those of you who are young, and by young I mean below the age of 80, vaudeville in the 1900s, early 1900s, up through the almost 1940s, there was no television. If the only entertainment other than reading or playing your own music would be going to the theater. Well, they had radio in the 20s, but before that, you'd go to the theater, the local vaudeville house, and it would be an entertainment. Like remember if you know about the old Ed Sullivan shows and the old variety shows? Well, that's what they were, only it was live. And you'd pay your whatever it was, 50 cents or whatever it was, and you'd spend an evening, and one act would be jugglers, the next act would be a comic act, the next act would be a trained dog, just all kinds of wild stuff. And the Dancing Cansinos were a dance act. They were headliners, and my grandfather was the leader of the troupe, and he married my grandmother, who was a Ziegfeld girl, Ziegfeld Follies. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but that was another kind of a vaudeville thing, and it was like a showgirl in the 1920s. And anyway, they had 3 kids. One of them was my father, and my father's older sister became an actress. She became very famous. You may have heard of her. She was the biggest movie star in the 1940s, and her name was Rita Hayworth.
Oh, shoot, really?
Yeah. She was. Hayworth was my grandmother's maiden. Her maiden name is Hayworth, and so her name was Margarita Cansino, and they went with Rita Hayworth. So I came from this show business kind of family. My father had tried to be an actor. He was in a few films, small, tiny parts. He didn't have the personality to withstand all the mishigas attached with being in show business. So he got out of that. But when I really, when you're 17, you don't know what you want to do, right? I decided I want to be, I'll go to college and major in language. I'll be a Spanish major. But in my particular junior college, they did not offer language as a major. I would have had to I went to Glendale Junior College out here. I would have had to go to Pasadena City College to be a language major. And that didn't work out because I was out of my district, so it was prohibitive cost-wise. So I didn't know really what to do. I said, well, I was in a couple of plays in high school. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the drama classes. So I'll just be a drama major. I'll put that down on paper, and hopefully I will, in the other courses that you have to take to get a college degree, I'll find something else that I like, Well, that didn't happen. I got more and more involved in it, and eventually I graduated college with a bachelor's degree in theater arts. I graduated magna cum laude.
Oh, congrats.
Yes, yeah, great.
I'm sure congrats.
A lot in my life. and then I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and was there for about a couple of years, and then anyway, I kind of fell into it reluctantly, as I knew it would be difficult, and that's how I became an actor.
Hey, but in the end, you still pulled through and persevered, and had magna cum laude. Like, that's an honor. I'm like, I even didn't get so.
It's not that. Getting good grades in college is more about perseverance and more than anything else. I mean, my friends were going out to parties and bars and things, and having sex, and I was at home studying. And I would have been much better off in life, I think, if I had just gone to a few parties and gone out with a few more girls and had a little more fun. But I just my mother was a refugee from Yugoslavia. Me and my grandmother got out of escaped the Nazis. So the idea of getting a college education was a really big deal. And I think I was the first in my family, my cousins, everybody to graduate college. That was a big deal. So I had that. I wasn't going to, my parents were paying some money, not all of it, but so I didn't want to squander that, what they were doing for me by not studying and doing well in school.
Yet you accomplished well, and at least
yeah. It really was impressive to all the age. One of the very first interviews I ever had with a producer, he was producing Giant Spider Invasion. I think that was the name of it, and William Shatner was the star of it. I just went in for what's called a general interview with the guy. I had an agent. I got an agent. I walked in his office, and at that time, I had no resume to speak of. I had all my college credits, which just doesn't mean anything. But he looked at my resume. I'll never forget it. This guy was producing a film called Giants or Invasion of the Spiders or something, some B- movie. He looks at my resume, and he says, graduated from Cal State Long Beach, magna cum laude. He laughed at me. Kingdom of the Giant Spiders producer was laughing at me, so that put me in my place quickly as far as having some attitude about me being some kind of an intellectual.
Definitely.
How did you get started with voice acting?
By accident. Again, I had gone through all the the classes in acting school and all of that, and I had one of the classes was dialect, learning accents and things like that, and I did well in that class. I have an ear for it. So I was at a party, and it's another story of why I was at this party. But it was a friend of mine who I won't go into that. It is a friend of mine, and she had this party, and she knew I did all these silly accents and things. And she said to me, Richard, it was I think it was a birthday party or something, a wedding shower, something. Anyway, she's Richard, come read the instructions. You got something that had assembly instructions or something like that. He says, look, read the instructions with a German accent. And I said, okay, first you have to insert slot A and use the tab B. Do not question why, just do as you are told. And everyone's laughing. I'm clowning around. I said, okay, now do Japanese, Oh, please, if you would, you in there, in there. And, and we just did one accent after another, and everyone's laughing, and, I'm not just clowning. Well, it turned out one of the people there was a friend of Louisa's, who was the hostess of the party. And about a year later, or a few months later, I was painting this woman's house. Her name was Melora Hart.
Mm-hmm.
She's married to Steve Kramer. Is that name? I mentioned that the other day. Now, Steve Kramer at the time was heavily involved in anime and dubbing, and he was dubbing something called Soccer Boy. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but you have?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Well, it was about World Cup soccer, the history of World Cup soccer. And because of that, they needed a lot of people to do accents. You know, because one year it takes place in Spain, the next year it's France, the next year wherever. And so they needed people who could do what's called walla work, which is the background voices that you hear in a movie. It's called walla. That's another story why they call it that. But so I'm painting, Melora Sneed's house, and she unbeknownst to me, she called her husband up. She says, Steve, Richard does a lot of accents and dialects, and you should call him in for a walla session. And Steve didn't want to do it because I had no experience, and it's a very time-consuming thing to do dubbing, and you don't want people without experience who haven't done it before. It's understandable they don't want to do it. He didn't want to call me in. She kind of twisted his arm until finally he said, all right, I'll call him in for one day just to be in the background and make background. Well, it turned out that it turned out to be kind of an audition for me, which I didn't realize. I was in, doing voices and background talking with a lot of the other, I guess there were about 5 or 6 other actors in the session. We were all together. And he said, Richard, come up and just put the voice in for that one actor. It was one sentence. They call it a loop, one loop. I said, okay. So I did it. Boop. They give you 3 beeps, and then you start on the imaginary 4th beep. Beep, beep, beep. I said the line, and I hit it perfectly. One take, it was in. I had no idea that I was being auditioned. Steve didn't tell me. I would have been very nervous had I known, but I wasn't. I was just clowning around with the guys. Said, okay, that was great. And then he let me do another one later on. Well, it turned out the other actors in the room were also directors of dubbing and writers of dubbing, and they were all like me, and they were all happy to find a new voice, a new face who was good and fun to work with. And that's how I got my start. Totally by accident. I was painting somebody's house.
Hey, small world. See, butterfly effect. Now,
yeah, but on the other hand, they always tell you have, Branch Rickey said, he said, luck is the residue of
success,
preparation.
Mm.
Luck is the residue of preparation, something like that.
Remember that, guys.
Yeah, and that was, I know I'd gotten the education. I knew I didn't know how it was going to work for me, other than if I occasionally get a job, Because for a long time, when I was doing things on camera or on stage, I could not get a job unless I was talking like this, And so, but that, that's how it. And one thing led to another thing, and led to another thing, led to another thing, and the next thing you know, I'm talking to you guys instead of watching the Oscars
and the Dodgers.
and the Dodgers.
The
winning. They better be winning. Anyway,
the World Series champions, guys. Yes, we are the champions. Don't yeah. Anyway, guys. So the next question is: speaking of us, how you get started working for Power Rangers, Richard? Yes.
Well, I actually is one of the few things that I've auditioned for. Actually, it got to a point. I started getting, they would call me in and say, "Can you do this? Can you do that?" And after a while, they were just calling me saying, "Do this, do that." come on in, can you work for a couple of hours on, and I didn't even know what I was going in for. And I still don't for the most part. They just call me in and say, but this particular one, it was an audition. I had auditioned, I think, for some other role on Power Rangers for a voice. I didn't get it, but they called me back for another time to audition for Kegler. And I got that. And then when you're there for 2 hours minimum. And they want to fill the time. They don't want you to just come in and do one role, and after a half an hour, okay, you're done. Let's pay them. They have to pay you for 2 hours minimum. They said, well, since you're here, do this guy or do that guy. So you look at the thing and say, well, I think this guy talks like this, and that's how I got. I'm sure that's how I got King Sphinx. On all the other ones, except for Kegler. Kegler was the guy I auditioned for.
And plus, I love Kegler too, especially in Lost Galaxy.
Yeah, you like the what's her name? The evil
Trakina?
She is very beautiful.
Yeah, you mean Amy Roll? Yeah, we actually did interview her last year, and she is very nice, so she's amazing.
So of all the monsters you voiced in Power Rangers, which one do you think stands out? Which one might have been your favorite voice, or which one did you have the most fun time voicing, I guess?
Kegler.
Kegler?
Yeah.
So before you ask, this is what he looks like. That's Kegler. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was funny. I like comedy. I'm good with comedy. And he sort of comedy, sort of mumbling sort of guy like that, and so that's fun. That's fun. So because pretty much anyone can go, I'm gonna kill you, whatever. Yeah.
I'll say this: the monster that you actually scared the shit out of me when I was a kid was this guy.
Well, that's a pretty creepy one, yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know your character actually almost killed the Sixth Ranger because he had a tattoo in his back. So basically, you were the tattoo.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So and plus, his name was Ryan. So my name is Ryan. So
Oh,
crap. So legit, when I was a kid, I would literally have nightmares. I would have Cobra in my back. So
I'm sorry.
It's a lot, Richard. For
not my fault. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I traumatized the little kid. Jeez, great.
I did mention, guys, that Richard is the anime voice actor. So, Richard, how you get started doing work for anime?
Well, that was how when I was painting the houses. What was interesting is that that was the first job, and then after that, the head of that studio called me in for some other things, and then there was an audition for something at Saban. Do you know Saban?
Yes, all we do.
It was
Not
called.
Personally.
Not
Yeah,
personally.
right.
Not personally.
Neither do I. But it was a show called Eagle Riders.
Oh, I remember that show. I love that show. I remember that.
You remember Eagle Riders?
Yeah, I remember Eagle Riders.
So they needed a guy to play the role of Hunter because originally they had already cast the show was already in production, and Bob Bergen was playing Hunter, and Bob Bergen got the voice of Porky Pig for Warner Brothers. So he had to leave, the anime to do the original cartoons for Warner Brothers. Pays a lot better money. And there was this big gap. We need somebody. So they auditioned a whole bunch of people. And somehow, I don't know why, but I got the job. And what's interesting, I kind of suspect why I got the job. I was doing my first session, and we had to go back because he'd done like 5 or 6 episodes already. We had to redo all of them with my voice. But there were a lot of what they're called efforts, like grunts and groans and things like that. And the director said, "Okay, we don't need to redo the grunts and the groans." and I realized my voice was similar enough to Bob's that they saved a lot of time and money because they didn't have to redo a lot of the loops. And so I think maybe that's why I got it, just because I happened to be in the same vocal range as at least that show. That's the one that Brian Cranston was my co-pilot. He played Joe, the co-pilot on that show. I don't know what happened to him.
Well, I know Brian technically became Zordon in the Power Ranger movie in 2017. So.
But he was also he also did a voice the same season you. He did the Lizinator.
Yeah.
And he did Godzilla. Remember, he did Godzilla.
Who was your favorite anime character that you voiced in your career, and like, what do you feel is the most notable character?
My favorite anime character is probably Kenshin. You know Kenshin?
Of course.
From Mortal Kombat?
No, Kenshin.
Yeah. Kenshin from Rurouni Kenshin.
Yeah, Rurouni.
Samurai X. He was the samurai, reformed samurai. He used to be in his earlier life. He had been a what did they call him? Batusai, the manslayer.
Yeah, he was the manslayer.
He was the manslayer. He killed, I don't know, thousands of people in battle. He had a big scar on his cheek in the shape of an X. Anyway, he reformed his thinking, and he vowed he would never use his sword to kill again. And he roams the countryside of Japan with a reverse edge sword. The samurai sword is not sharp on the cutting edge; it's sharp on the back end.
Yeah.
But he's such an incredible warrior. He's also got a lot of silly. It's a lot of range in that particular character. He goes sometimes deadly serious. I mean, literally deadly serious to goofball things. And somebody, when he'd get hit on the head in some pie fight or something, and he'd be going, go, come up on his eyes around, and now 5 pages later, he's in a battle to the death with some horrible fiend, human fiend. No monsters, just humans. He was my favorite character, and it turned out that I did a convention. The only convention I've ever done, and some people would come up to me and they say, when I was a kid, I had a really hard, difficult childhood, and watching those shows helped me get through those difficult years.
So a little story. So my aunt, she loved your character, and she named my my nephew on her side Kenshin. So Himura. There you go.
Well, there's 3.
So if you guys wondering who that person is, for you non-anime fans, bam,
there he is.
Bam. Plus
Who did that? Is that you putting that up?
Yeah, that's me.
I have to tell you, one of the people at the convention is this guy. He shows me he says, look, I cut myself accidentally. I cut myself in a window or something, and I left a scar on my knuckle. So I took a knife and I decided I'll make an X-shaped scar out of it. He showed me his knuckle, and there it is. There's the X-shaped scar that he made himself. I said, thank you. That's really an honor. Who should I make the autograph out to? Stupid? Thank God he laughed. He was bigger than I was.
But anyways,
it's amazing. Yeah. I mean, it really. I was amazed at the response. I really was shocked that apparently it helped some of these people get through hard times in their life.
Yeah, I mean, anime in general is a sort of escapism because it's like I mean, technically all media is, but anime has like the form of storytelling that is like very original with other American media. So that's why again I love anime a lot. So
yeah.
and technically you were a lot in my childhood too. So you and Ezra Wise.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I told him that too. Like you legit were my childhood guys. Before you guys know, again, yes, Richard is a video game voice actor. Dynasty Warriors,
Yeah.
Halo. So how you get into the video game industry? Favorite or most notable video game that you voiced or worked on?
Halo, Assassin's Creed.
Hmm.
I can't. There's been a few others. Oh, Fallout.
Yes. Well, really? Which one?
Yeah, apparently I played this older guy. I think he's a little bit crazy and he's locked in the basement or something like that. I don't. They don't tell us the names of the vehicles. When we're working on them, when we're auditioning for them, they say, okay, this is the, so you audition, and then they say, okay, now they're supposed to tell you, but I did not realize I was in Fallout, and I didn't realize I was in Halo until the people at Halo sent me one of the games. It wasn't the game I worked on. They sent me the one from before. They didn't send me the one I was in. They sent me the one from 2 years before or whatever. And so I didn't realize. And I just auditioned. And it's interesting. I had, for most of my career, I'd never had a voice agent, and I was doing a show, an anime show, and the director / producer said, "Hey, Richard, why don't you have an agent?" And I said, "Well, I've been getting all the work, through connections and everything. What do I need an agent for?" He says, "Well, I'm going to hook you up with this agent and set up a meeting." So I said, "Okay, I got an agent." Okay. So I had been sending in auditions on this it looked like a little cell phone kind of a recording device that I got at Best Buy. And that's what I'd been doing. And my agent said, she called me and said, "Richard, your auditions don't sound, the sound quality doesn't sound competitive compared with other actors who are auditioning. So you need to invest in some higher quality equipment." I said, "Okay." So I went out and I spent a whole bunch of money and stuff. Finally, on the day that I got everything set up, my agent calls me. I hadn't even auditioned through all this new stuff yet. My agent called me up. She goes, "Yeah, Richard, remember I told you that your sound quality isn't very good and it's not competitive?" "Yeah." "Well, you just booked this game on that, with that crummy sound quality thing you've been using. That was Halo." And I booked 4 jobs on that before I booked anything on the new thing. And I asked the director during a break on working on the Halo thing, because I didn't know there was a difference. I couldn't tell because I didn't have anything to judge by. And I said, "Did you hear is the sound quality of my audition, was that really inferior compared to everyone else?" He said, "I don't remember. All I know is I listened to 900 people auditioning for that role, and I picked you." 900.
The funny thing is, they could have possibly picked you because, you get a lot of those voices where they're talking to each other over comms or whatever.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was a strength. Hey, this guy actually sounds good over a comm. He'd be good for the voice.
Maybe. Usually they don't like you to do that.
Yeah.
Because you have all the ability to filter the voices, and they always tell you, "Don't do that. We'll do that if we want to. I want to hear what you sound like." And it's so I don't know. The only thing I know is every time I audition, I realize there's 900 at least other people auditioning for the same part. Man.
Okay, what is your aspiring advice to any actor or actress that want to be in the entertainment industry?
In general,
Yes.
I would say, well, it depends on what you want to do, what kind of an actor you want to be. If you want to be a real actor, in my opinion, go to school, do theater, take classes, get into a place like the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, or go down to the Old Globe, the repertory company, get into something like that. Even if you can go to college and take classes and that sort of thing. Now, if all you want to do is be a movie star, you'll probably, if you then I'll tell you, learn to ride a motorcycle, learn to ride a horse, take weightlifting classes, get buff, because that's, be handsome, or beautiful if you're a girl. I mean, I've done some films with, I remember doing a film with a penthouse pet. And she had the lead in the film. She was very attractive. And she says to me, well, my boobs cost $20,000. My teeth cost, $10,000. She went through this list of all this, plastic surgery. It's like my nose, that was $6,000. But, she knew what she wanted to do, and she knew this is what I have to do. And it wasn't that she wasn't an untalented actress. She had talent. She didn't have a lot of skill, but in movies, you don't need lots of skill, especially in film. I mean, we got an actress here nominated for an Academy Award tonight who is a singer. She did Billie Holiday. She was fantastic. I don't know if you saw the movie, but she was fantastic. But I would say learn craft, learn how to do Shakespeare, learn how to do restoration comedy, learn how to do the difference between comedy and drama. Be an actor. And that way you're not limited. I mean, you can be The Rock, and there's, he's been very successful. I'm sure he's a really nice guy, and but he's not going to do, Shakespeare. You're not going to see him in any, major, serious thing, unless he gets a lot of help. But even a really, really, really well-trained actor like Daniel Day-Lewis, because he was a star already, he got an entire year to work on the character of Abraham Lincoln. He said, I'm going to need a year. He said that to Steven Spielberg. I'm going to need a year to work on that. Spielberg said, oh, okay. Now me, a schlub like me, I said, what? You got 5 weeks to shoot this. You better do it now. We don't have anyone on set to help coach you with a Liverpool accent.
Yeah.
You better be able to do it now. And so, if you want to be an actor, I would say that get yourself training and take it seriously, and also just be prepared. It's for most people, it's a very difficult life. If you can find anything in life that you enjoy as much as acting, that gives you the same feeling of fulfillment as acting, you will end up doing that, whether you are successful as an actor or not. You will end up doing that because there's so much negative things that come with it. There's so much rejection, and there's so much. disrespect, not just from within the business, but from without the business. You know, there's a joke of somebody says, what do you do for a living? And the guy says, I'm an actor. And he says, oh, what restaurant do you work at? You know,
Yeah, right.
it's true. You know, in Los Angeles, half the waiters and bartenders are actors. They all have a script that they've written or that they have for themselves, including me. I have, you know, and I've done all kinds of things. And I know people who have been very successful as actors, one in particular, and she quit. Just quit now. I'm happy doing this other stuff. Now she teaches, or she passed away, but she was teaching special needs kids in school, in public school. She says, yeah, I gave up the acting. I'm doing this now. Every bit is fulfilled, and yeah. So don't worry. The other thing I would say is that a lot of people say, I don't know if I have what it takes to be an actor. I say, well, find out. Try it. You know, give it a few years. See if you can take the rejection, or you know, maybe you'll get lucky and hit it off right away. I know people who have. And or you know, if you're not, if you become a working actor and you struggle along, like, you know, somebody like me, for instance, I'm not a millionaire. I'm a thousandaire. Let's put it that way. And you know, nobody knows who I am, but I go and occasionally I get a job on a film. Occasionally I do live action. I do some radio. I've done stage. I've pretty much done everything, and I'm able to eke out a living. But I can't. And there's usually about once or twice a year, especially when I was younger, when I used to lock my. Literally, I would go into my hallway, turn out the lights, sit on the floor. It was usually after an audition that I thought I should have gotten the job and I didn't. And I was so discouraged. I'd sit on the floor in the dark and try desperately to think of anything else I could do besides acting for a living. I never could come up with anything. So I'm stuck. And it has its great moments. There's wonderful times to be had, but you have to be willing and able to weather the bad times.
Sure.
And most people don't. It's not worth it to them to do that. But if you have that in you, go ahead and do it.
Right on. So my final question is, oh wait, Brandon has a final question. Forgot.
Do you have any upcoming projects that you could tell us about for the fans?
I have upcoming projects and I can't tell you anything about them because they make you sign non-disclosure agreements.
All right, guys.
I have some films that I've written. So if there's anyone out there who wants to invest in some really good comedies with me in the roles I wrote for myself, you know, you have like a few $100,000 that you know don't know what to do with, let me know.
Definitely. So that ends our 10 questions. Now before to go for the fan questions. Richard, how do we say hi to the fans? Well, their comments or questions.
Fans, why aren't you watching the Oscars
Or the Dodger game? If you
the Dodger game?
So Kenbra's asking, do you have any of your figures? Well,
no, I didn't even know there was a King Sphinx. I know that there was a Kenshin Kimura figure.
Oh yeah, my cousin has that.
Does he? Yeah.
He has it.
Yeah, I don't own any of the figures. No.
So I mean, Brendan, help him out. How to find these?
Of course. Yeah, they're at GameStops everywhere, and maybe we can pick you up one.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're online. I looked it up yesterday. I guess you can get them online or something. Or
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Amazon, GameStop, Hasbro Pulse. Let's see. Oh. Hi, how's it like being part of the Power Rangers family? Greetings from Mumbai, India. Oh, hello.
Well, greetings. It's very nice to be a part of anything. It's nice to be part of in such an iconic show. It's anything. It's funny. I in every show, like Power Rangers has a real fan base, just really like Power Rangers, and then there's the Star Trek people that really like the Star Trek. So I'm part of that little family. Oh yeah.
Star
Star Trek. Look out, man! You might get a photon torpedo up your bum. Anyway, and then there's these movies I was talking about with the Penthouse Pets. There's like a little cult following of those, and I was for 5 of those things. And it's funny, in my own little, small, tiny, teeny way, I'm a little part of that, of those kinds of things. And it's funny, I had one year where I did voice work on 3 movies that were nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars.
Ah.
Yeah, one year was the I can't think of the what's the one about the Hurt Locker,
Yeah.
Avatar, and the one about the kid who gets on the football team and Sandra Bullock is his mother.
Oh,
Blindside.
Blindside.
I had voice work in those 3 movies. All 3 of them were nominated for Best Picture. One of them won. Hurt Locker won Best Picture. So in that sense, yes, I'm part of that little. That's as close as I've gotten to an Oscar.
So we can say this guy's an Oscar award-winning actor, so have respect on this man.
Yeah, somebody I know won an Oscar.
Yeah, see, there you go. I'm respecting this guy. He is a king. So
I'm the King Sphinx. All you Sphinxsters out there.
Aaron Gelb, hi. Did you watch the episodes of which your voice characters once they were aired? Greetings from Argentina.
Hola, Argentina. That's funny. No, I've never. You guys, all of you, know more about any of the shows that I've voiced than I do. Because we go into the studio, it's a very long, tedious process. So they only give you your line when you're doing dubbing. Dubbing is putting, well, in my case, it's putting English words into the mouths of the actors or images of foreign films, whether they be Spanish or Japanese or Russian or whatever. And so what it's usually a situation where you do a line, and then that wasn't quite right. You need to do it again, and you may be able to get through as many as 30 lines in an hour. So it's not like you're doing original animation where in America they do original animation. All the actors sit around together in a studio and they react like in The Simpsons. They read the script and they've got mics everywhere to pick up any ad libs or anything. And then they draw the characters' mouths to fit what the actors are doing. In dubbing, we have to put our voices into the mouths that are already there. So it's very slow and tedious, and because of that, they call in one actor at a time. So all we get, he's the lead actor in the thing. You'll get a better idea of what's going on. But if you're just playing a supporting role, you may get 10 lines. You have no idea what the thing is about. You say, okay, in this line he's happy. In this line, he's sad. He's angry because, you know, the guy backed up over his dog's tail, you know, and that's what you get. And so, yeah, you don't know what's going on. So a lot of times people ask me, well, what was the, you know, on that episode where so-and-so did this and that, and how did you feel? I said, I can't tell you. It's not important how I feel anyway. It's important how you feel. That's what they used to teach me in acting school. It says, you know, a lot of actors are really happy that they cried in a scene. And that's not the goal. The goal isn't for you to cry. It's to make the audience cry. Go ahead.
So, this is your first request. If you could do it. So King Sphinx forgot to pay the power bill. What?
I don't need to pay the power bill. When he comes over to collect the bill, I'll turn him into his sausages and I'll kill him. How dare you turn out my lights, mortal.
Damn, that was good. Oh my god, that was what
You better come over now. Come over now. I'll fly over to you. I'll split you in half with my sword.
Oh my god.
How dare you turn out the lights.
The king. There you go. So Seth, you should be happy. Let's see.
Either happy or disappointed. I don't know.
Paratimish says, what color ranger would you be?
What colored ranger? I like blue.
There you go.
So I just looked it up because I was thinking about your voice. It's very similar. You voiced one of my favorite villains in Power Rangers. You probably don't, I don't know if you even remember him or not. Cardiatron.
Cardiatron, let me look for him.
If you have a picture, it may look familiar to me.
He was the brain thing inside of Hatchosaurus.
Give me a sec, Brandon. I'll look for him. So yeah, you know, give me a sec.
Brandon, I got to tell you, here's a story. Because, you know, I look like a fool when I say, I can't remember all the little characters I did.
Sure.
So my girlfriend, we went to Amoeba Records, and she wanted to buy a film on DVD called Old Boy. You ever see Old Boy? It's a Korean movie. It's a really good movie if you ever get a chance to see it. So she brings it over, and at the time, I had a very small little television set. So, you know, when you're doing the DVD, it asks you, do you want to read the subtitles, or would you rather listen to the dubbed version? So I had a small TV. I said to her, look, if we do the subtitles, we'll never be able to read it. Why don't we just listen to the dubbed version, dubbed in English? I said, okay. So we're watching this movie, and there's this character, a young character in the movie, and whoever is dubbing him is really good. I mean, he's really good, and I'm getting upset because I heard some voices on that dub track that I recognized. Steve Kramer was one, so I knew it was dubbed out here in Los Angeles, and I don't know who dubbed this character, but he was really good. The sync was perfect. It looked like it was really coming out of his mouth, and I was really upset. No wonder I'm not getting as much work. Whoever this guy is, he's taking all my jobs, and I don't blame the people for casting him instead of me, because this guy's really good. So after the movie was over, I gotta rewind this and listen to this guy again. So I did, and I started to look at some things, and I noticed some things looked kind of familiar. And as the scene came up and I started seeing this guy again, I realized, oh, that's me.
And Brandon,
I didn't realize that was me.
Yeah. So, Brandon, you got your wish, so this is what he looks like, Cardiatron.
Yep.
So you're basically your heart.
Brandon, are you sure it was me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for one thing, I'm like one of the things that I'm really good at is like remembering voices and like matching them up with stuff. It's just a weird, stupid talent that I have. But like I was thinking back to your King Sphinx voice, and I'm like, that voice, I remember that was Cardiatron. And so I went and I verified on credits, and yeah, you were him. You also were Grumblebee, which is the only episode that Trini says it's Morphin time. So yeah.
Well, there you go.
And you're about to get another toy, actually. They're about to announce the iGuy Lightning Collection figure.
What?
Yeah. So like they've got like these little like key like things that's like, oh, you kind of can like realize like you can see what they're going to announce. And sometime this year, I know that iGuy is like on that one, and I know you voiced that one too.
Oh, so this guy.
Oh yeah, that looks familiar.
So he's getting two. All right, Richard, you're getting two toys.
Wow. Wow.
So you gotta go to cons now, man. You
gotta get a big head.
You got this guy, and I got iGuy.
Do they have a Kegler? Don't they have a Kegler?
Hey, yeah, Hasbro, make a Kegler figure. Come on, Kegler or
Hasbro. Let's get with it.
Or this guy, even though he scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Or of course this guy too.
Yeah, Kegler.
And this guy, he was the main villain, technically.
Jindrax, right?
Mm-hmm. Jindrax.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's see who's more. Oh, and yeah. Please get Richard to convention. You'll see him. You are now from the Sphinx Clan.
Yeah, Zach, I'll tell you what, dude. What Barbara Goodson says, she says, the thing about conventions, it's like going to the prom.
Yeah.
You have to be. So.
It's kind of like you're right, but it's also more like a high school reunion.
Yeah. I don't know how you do it, but I guess if you guys make enough noise, they'll ask me, and I'll say, okay, maybe I'll go. I don't know.
Because I would love for you to sign this, Richard.
Yeah, nice. I'd love. Yeah, you guys want to ask me questions that I can't answer, so.
It's fine. I won't say who. So there's for certain New Zealand voice actor I'm friends with. He didn't know that his character's that big. And when he had a toy, he was like, "Wait, I'm that big," and now he's actually getting invited to stuff at New Zealand.
Good.
So he had to research. He had to research on that character again. He's like, "Oh, now I remember. All right."
What have she done to you? Was that close?
Yep, that was it. And I'm actually like, that is quick. So, Paratimish, hope you're happy. Okay.
I know that is kind of a hard thing though. Like when people ask that, cause it'd be like asking me, like, "Hey, remember that one thing you printed that one time at Office Max when you worked there in 2007?" Like, no. But as much as it matters to them, it's like, at the end of the day, it was a job. So, I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah, this is a job I loved and I enjoyed doing it, but I don't, at the time especially, didn't keep a record of the voices that I would do. Sometimes I'd go back and I would say, do you have a record of a recording of what I did, the first time I did that voice? And they play it back for me. I go, okay, now I know what the voices. That's now I have things I can go back. My more recent things that I've been doing the last few years, I go back, I have a record and I can listen and go, oh, okay, that's
sure.
Yeah. But it's a sort of thing. When I did this convention, it was in Trinidad, and they had me on a little television show that they have there. It's sort of like Good Morning America version in Trinidad, and the host asked me to do the voice of Kenshin.
Oh.
It's been 20 years.
Yeah.
It's been 20 years. And I wasn't expecting him to ask me that question. And I kind of like danced around it for a little bit while I was thinking, what was the voice? What was the voice? Oh, this is the voice. Right? So I managed to recall it.
Definitely. Let's see. We'll do a few more, guys. We'll do two more. The first head monster, my favorite one. You voice saying, "Oh, I had a picture." He's saying he liked this guy. So
Really? Are you sure that's me? I don't
Yeah, it was you. I just looked it up too.
vaguely remember it.
So this is like going back to memory lane, Richard. Like
Yeah, back when I was young.
going back to your child memories.
My child memory. I wish I'd have to look it up myself. I don't. I can't imagine I had a lot of lines in that.
Yeah, I mean, you did voice a lot of Power Ranger monsters, especially my Morphin. So I mean, I checked it. Yeah, you did a lot. I'll say that you did a lot. Oh.
I can't even blame it on my drug addiction or anything like that. 'Cause, yeah, Ozzy Osbourne said, I don't remember. Everything's a fog. You know,
Right.
I don't have that excuse.
All right, guys, we'll do one more. We'll do one more because it's getting late. And by the way, Richard, Dodgers up 3-1. So let's check the score right now.
What?
Dodgers are up 3-1.
3-1. I thought the Dodgers were up 4-3 or something like that.
Really? I don't know. Maybe it's late. Paratus Massacre says, suppose Hasbro ever call you for doing voice acting for Power Rangers, would you be interested in coming back again?
Oh yeah, it's not Hasbro that Hasbro just makes the toys. Saban was the one. Yeah, I think we did the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
He moved. He moved everything to Australia.
I know. So Hasbro owns Power Rangers now, like everything, the whole.
Yeah.
They bought everything.
Now it's in New Zealand. So
Yeah, I would do. Of course, I would do it again. Yeah. If they wanted me.
Yeah, and answer your question. Here you go.
Oh, good. My brother's a Padres fan. I have to call him up and.
What? Oh, sorry, man.
My ex-brother.
Oh my god! I feel the same way. I have a relative that's a Clippers fan. I'm a Lakers fan, so now it's so.
On the other hand, he does have a redeeming feature is that he's a Trekkie. He's like embarrassingly a Trekkie. He went to a restaurant dressed in Star Trek gear they were giving away some, anyone who wants to dress up as a Star Trek can get a free breakfast or something like that.
Damn.
Sent me a picture.
You know what's funny? Speaking of Star Trek, my dad actually served William Shatner. So he actually got into the Star Trek thing. He's like, oh, I got interviewed in Star Trek. Like, really? Yeah, William Shatner. I was like 2 years old. Like, I don't know about that. I was more
awesome. One of the people who directed me, her father was a director and directed some Star Trek episodes. And I was in the episode I was in The Next Generation. And I had a scene with Picard and number 1, and but I never met them because I was an alien on the planet and they were orbiting and we were communicating via television. We were on the screens, and so I had a whole scene with them. I never met either one of them.
That's for real.
Wow.
Yeah, that's showbiz, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, guys. Again, thank you for being part of the special interview with Richard Cansino, the King Sphinx himself, and now because he's getting another toy according to this guy on top of me. So he's 2 toys now. Congrats, Richard. Your 2 toys.
Thank you. 2 toy. Call me 2 toy Cansino.
Watch, you're gonna get 3 toys, so Kegler should get 1. So watch.
That's the main one. Kegler, come on, Hasbro.
Exactly. So before we leave, Richard's there. Where can fans find you? Do you have a social media, a website, or you can share them?
Sorry, say that again.
Where can fans find you? Like, do you have a website or social media feed or website?
If you really. I really don't. I don't. The best thing to do if you want to contact me somehow is to go through Atlas Talent Agency in Los Angeles, and if you want to go through there, and they'll get to me one way or the other. So if you wanna send a bomb or something through the mail, make it a really long fuse because they're very slow to get to me. Months sometimes. Eventually they do, but
Watch, you're getting a lot. Watch, we're gonna get a lot of these toys sent to you. Imagine.
okay, Well, maybe once we get past this whole COVID stuff, I could come to a convention or something.
Yeah. So
Everybody get your shots. Get your shots.
right.
Thank you. Get vaccinated. Don't be stupid.
Yeah, Team Moderna. I still.
You got Moderna. I got Moderna.
I
That's
got
right.
Pfizer.
Get out.
You got Pfizer.
Yeah. No,
I went to Dodger Stadium and got Moderna.
I got mine at a Kaiser, the one in Sunset in LA. So.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Brandon, my partner and compadre, where can you find you on social media?
You can find me on social media at Studio43PD, Studio43PD.com. Everything's on there. So yeah.
You can find me on Instagram, DancerBoy247. Please follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and the Morphin Network. Again, thank you, Richard, for being a
Nice
special
to meet
guest.
you guys.
And again, guys, thank you for being part of the special interview. We're finally interviewing King Sphinx himself. And a lot of other voices. So yeah, guys. All right, guys, we'll do goodbye wave and bye. Happy Sunday. Oscars. Go Dodgers.
Today's Morphin Network video is sponsored by Ranger Stop and Pop, which is now August the 27th to the 29th, 2021 in Atlanta, Georgia. And Ranger Stop Convention, which is now November 11th to the 14th, 2021 in Orlando, Florida. Go to rangerstop.com for more info.